Good afternoon. How are you? Well, Thomas Jefferson says the temperature is 54 degrees. Seems about right. The humidity is 76%. And last night it rained. And so, sort of like Camelot, we had the rain in the evening and the sun during the day. So we'll see what happens today. And the wind is at 3 miles an hour, not noticeable right now. Have you noticed that our public dialogue gets more and more bizarre? And there is a reluctance to scrutinize seeming good news rather than considering if it isn't another ploy. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Now, among the ridiculous stories today is one about George W. Sr., George Bush Sr., that in 1964, he was aware of alien contact. We're not talking about immigrants. We're talking about from another solar system, another star set, whatever. And it was, you got it, in New Mexico. And so turn off your SCI devices looking for a signal. Apparently, our government claims it had that connection in 1964. Now, I have to confess I didn't read the whole story because I can fill my life with enough nonsense than that. There were supposedly, are you sitting down yet? Are you trying to find out online what the hell they did? There were 3 spaceships, and they met face to face. Any of you seen Mars Attack? When this happens in the kind of movie Takeoff on War of the Worlds, and it was called Mars Attack. It's hilarious. But these guys have ray guns, and they say things like, "We come in space and in peace," and then they obliterate the person. They just zap them and they disappear. And so it would be horrific if it was believable, but it was a comedy. And this, I think, comes in that same vein. And the good news, and the question, why did it ever happen in the first place, is the U.S. Coast Guard has restored the prohibitions against swastikas and nooses. Well, congratulations. If you don't think we have a crisis of competence, and this is not a time in our history when we should be savaging and attacking education, and talking about closing the Department of Education like somebody's going to miss a math lesson or something. They're going to miss it because one of the biggest things that the Department of Education does is provide the funds to go to a school in a time when school costs more and more than it did when I was a kid. And because I was handy at some math and science, I was eligible for grants they had then the National Defense Education Act. And there was a Regents Scholarship in New York. Maybe there still is, I don't know. And we understood and believed that those who were suitable, meaning they had a curiosity about it, they had some skill level, they should do that. Now, nobody I knew went past high school in my old neighborhood. And my dad didn't go past high school, my mom didn't, and my younger brother didn't. He was a natural. So what do we have? I guess we had certain genes, DNA, that took care of us. And we all had curiosity about things. My dad read a great deal. My mom was probably the better student as compared, although I don't know. But my dad was truant a lot. So this is America. What seems sensible that we were doing, we should persist in doing and condemn those who think it's good to have ignorant people. And I'm not saying they are ignorant, but there's a level of achievement that can make the life of some people and their families and their community more enjoyable and productive if they have a way to get those tools that they are equipped to use and to grow with. But, oh yes, and now the thing I was mentioning at the outset, which is how joyful people are when they get a few crumbs that seem like cooperation, okay? So what I'm talking about is Trump and Mamdani. Oh yeah, they had a frolicking time. What's that about? Who thinks that Trump has changed whom he is? He's playing to the stands. He's hoping to get a percentage point here or there. He's trying to cast an image of himself. Now, Mamdani doesn't have to do that. We know who he is. He ran for office. And I think he's smart enough to know what Trump is doing. And if you need comparisons in history, larger than just our chief potentate meeting with a, quote, socialist mayor from New York, think about Hitler and Chamberlain. Chamberlain was wooed by Hitler, thought that he could make a deal with him, not to go into Czechoslovakia. I think that was 1938. Wrong. How many times since 2012, for those who are not New Yorkers, who didn't see him their whole young life, believe that this guy ever tells the truth? Ever. When he does, it's usually an admission of some sort that may not have been intended, but he's not that smart. But he is a bully, and people fold as he abuses and misuses the powers of this once great nation, compromised by this character sitting in the West Wing, thinking about, who knows, tearing that down. Trump proposes, as the man of the people and helping the consumer, to lower the pay that farm workers get. Dust off your Karl Marx. Capitalistic Trump is squeezing the farmer worker. So you can eat something at a price you'd like because he's collapsing the safety net of employment and pay for farm labor. Isn't that something? Now, we also have the realization creeping across America that the military oath does provide for a prohibition against obeying unlawful orders. In other words, it favors, instructs, demands that unlawful orders be denied. But that doesn't favor Trump's wannabe dictator powers. So we can't have people disagreeing with any exercise he would take, legal or illegal. The fact that he comes out and says that is an admission. And the Speaker of the House, when you watch it, this will be on the screen for several days at least. We'll hear Johnson say again, how could you tell military to disobey an order? That's not what he said. That's not what the members of Congress said. Unlawful order. Shoot all these civilians who are protesting in Texas. How about that? Or LA, or Portland, or Chicago, or New York, or DC, or New Orleans, or nationwide. That's the order. That's the unlawful order. Sink that ship with people on it. Go ahead, do it. Even though it violates international law, it's a war crime, that we have no treaty to do it. There are objections from the nation states in the area. Yeah, go ahead. Blow up the damn ships. So, you can't. So, somebody wanted to have a conversation with me. I can't do that now. Dems call out police for Trump's threats of death. And the threat is a good show for Trump, but very risky for any members of Congress. And then we have Lazy Levitt, who says, for them to have said what the law says was very dangerous. Isn't that interesting? If you say something that's truthful and reveals the law, we got to stuff that out. We have to crush that. We can encourage people to kill you for saying that. And elected members of Congress, after all, we've been arresting them. We've been moving them around. How about that? Representative Eric Swalwell has announced he's running for governor. Good. You should think about joining that campaign. That's a worthwhile campaign. Because he was one of the managers of the impeach proceedings against Trump. And then we find out that we don't have the skill set to do the manufacturing that Trump believes is what's going to happen in America as a result of his tariffs. What's the answer? H-1Bs? How about we train them and we take the tariffs and adjust them accordingly, huh? I think Mamdani knows what Trump was about. So I don't think he's going to sell out the city. But I think this was the setup punch. Come here, sit by me. Tell me your secrets. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you plan. So I can use it against you days, weeks from now. Have a fight and crush you like a bug. When I figured out how to defame you, I figured out what your buttons are, figured out how to take you down. But meantime, the media and the political class are encouraged by this meeting. Washington Post is too. People will take the scraps of liberty as a substitute for a nation that is a republic, respects the vote, believes in equal justice for all, and Trump does not. And if you ever think he's doing otherwise, you are making a big mistake. You're risking the republic. I don't have to tell you guys this, but our elected officials, some of them, and our newspapers, the corporate side anyhow, think, yeah, that's good news. No, it's not. It's bullshit. The game is always on. It never stops until we actually vanquish the worst felon and president in the history of our country. So, for now, I say goodbye to you from our cathedral of trees. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.